This is very intimate. I like this. I appreciate the floor here.
He's sick.
I can never tell when I'm getting a real pop out of you or not. Like, is that real
that was
or
a good pop,
fake?
yeah.
Okay, good. Because I was doing my research, like I told you today, this will lead perfectly into my questions here. And I was watching the last episode of BT and Sal, and then every time BT would talk, I'd listen. You'd talk, I'd skip through it. Besides the point here, that made me wonder, Sal, what made you fall in love with this business? What made you want to get started in the radio?
You know what's crazy? That now, again, you have to remember, and from a young kid perspective, it's going to be foreign to the youngins. The number one thing that drove me was that I wanted to have my voice heard. And the only way to do that 23 years ago was to call up WFAN. There was no social media. You couldn't start your own show. Like, I could yell and talk to my friends and all that stuff, but the opinion didn't matter. Nobody heard it. So the thing that drove me was when I discovered listening to WFAN in about 1995. My father was not a sports fan, so he didn't listen to the fan. My friend Slavko Katusa, the Croatian sensation. He was a big Knicks fan, big Met fan. We were buddies in school. Yeah, that's what we used to call him. He was a little bit of a hooper. So we'd be buddies since elementary school. And we had that in common with the Knicks and Mets or whatever it may be. We play basketball, love the Mets. And he's the one who put me onto it about Mike and the Mad Dog. And I was like, huh, what's this? And the second I found out about it in 1995, I fell in love with it. And then that love and their passion drove me to call. I needed to have my voice heard. So I would call them or Beningo or Summers. But the need to have my voice heard and feel like my opinion mattered, that is what drove me, which is wild because now, which is honestly, Badabooms, it's a part of why not being with the fan anymore doesn't hurt as much, because I still feel like I have a voice without the fan, which is insane. I know not as many people are listening to it, but still, you can make your mark now creating your own YouTube show or a podcast or on social channels. Not to mention that I have SNY, which I'm fortunate to have as well. But you get the point. There are many outlets to have a voice. It's not just WFAN, but that's how I wanted to get started.
That's great. So I would have loved to ask you this question before the last 5 months. And it just so happens that I tripped and fell out of my face, and here's the opportunity, which is just wild. And again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's a blessing, some may say. It's a curse, some may say, because I have to deal with you a lot of bitching and crying and moaning. It's threatening too. I got threatened before the show started.
You didn't get threatened. It was just just letting you know that there are options here. No, you've done a great job, all kidding aside. And I love our friendship. I text you more than I text my wife. Yeah. I mean, we've hung out before. I had to teach you about pizza. But dude, we text all the time.
Me. You don't got to teach me about pizza, bro. You got to teach me how to stop eating pizza.
No, but you got to stop eating the bad pizza. No, but how often are we in contact over the show? And my wife's like, what the hell are you doing? I go, you don't understand something. Getting the podcast and YouTube channel going, it's a lot of freaking work. Anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah, so what I was going to ask about that, though, is when was the moment that you realized, hey, I can do this thing. Let's go for it.
You mean about just creating the YouTube?
No.
Or you?
No. I'm talking about, let's go back now. So you discovered it. You have the Croatian sensation. You listen to Joe and Mike and all them. When was the moment that I got to do this? And then, where did you make that decision moving on? Because I always wondered myself, how do I do this thing?
It wasn't just like okay, boom, now I know I want to do this. I think it was falling in love with them, Mike and the Mad Dog specifically. And then the more I listened to them and the fan and called, the more I knew I had this thing inside of me that not only did I want to have my voice or opinion matter or heard, I felt like I could do it. I felt like I could be good at it. But more even than that, I wanted to be a part of that family. Hey, me, Sal here. Weird interrupting my own podcast, but I'm going to do it because it's a very special reason. We have Mets Yankees Subway Series tickets to give away, courtesy of Sachdev Family Orthodontics in Rockland. Right now, we have 2 tickets, 1 pair of tickets, Mets Yanks field level tickets. It's the first Subway Series matchup of 2026 out at Citi Field. We'll be giving them away once we get to 10,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. We're at about 6 right now as we record this. So we're getting there. Ways to go. Games in May. If we don't get there, I guess just Badabooms and I will go. But anyway, a pair of tickets, Mets, Yankees, Subway Series, Friday night, Citi Field, first game of the year between the Mets and the Yankees for 2026. We have a pair to give away once we get to the 10,000 subscribers. Okay, now you can go back to listening. Enjoy the rest of the show. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to check us out. Maybe in life, I don't want to say I've always felt like a misfit, but I love sports way more than even the biggest sports fans. And like, all my friends were big sports fans, but it was my life. It's all I cared about. I didn't go to parties. I didn't drink. I've never done drugs. I wasn't dating girls or whatever, especially at a younger age. Like my first girlfriend might have been, I don't know, when I was like 16, 17.
You never
like
put
that.
one in the air before?
I never what?
You never put one in the air before ever in your life.
What does that mean?
Well, use your brain here. All right, Sal? You've
Put
never
one in the air? I've never done drugs ever, period.
never put one in the air before.
Never put one in the air before, if that's what that means. Drink, yes. But even drinking, I'm not a big drinker, was not a big drinker. Anyway, point is, that was like, I was beyond obsessed, maybe even unhealthy obsession. You can relate, Badabooms. So
About
that
being unhealthy?
No, about being obsessed to that level. I could just tell with you, with the Jets fandom. Like I see it. So it was that level of obsession, and I just felt like I needed to be a part of that family and be a part of. Mad Dog used to have the crack committee, which was the Yankee haters. I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to talk to Mike and get to know him and just be a part of the WFAN family, which I felt like it was the be all end all for New York sports. I needed to be a part of that. I remember listening to it many years later after I first started while I was on break working at Home Depot. One specific thing comes back to my mind. It was during a Christmas episode. They were giving each other Christmas gifts and playing the music, and I was on a break in the parking lot at Home Depot, and I'm like, I have to be a part of this. I need to be. And then I ended up turning that love and passion or whatever and calling all the time and listening to, they used to run commercials for Connecticut School of Broadcasting. That's how I got my start. I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting because I loved Fan so much, heard it on the Fan, and turned that into an internship, and the rest is history.
So obviously I have no clue, wasn't alive. What kind of caller were you?
What do you mean? What kind of caller? I mean, I like
so
to think,
come on, you know what I'm saying here. When I used to call in a Boomer and Geo, I'd call in and talk about Mrs. Met's ass and stuff like that.
No, I was a legit, I told you, I'm not clowning around. I took it very seriously. I would call about the Mets, about the Knicks. You remember Bill Daughtry at all or no?
I know Chris Daughtry.
No, Bill Daughtry used to be a WFAN host. I remember calling him the day that Ewing missed a finger roll in 95 against the Knicks. I would call Eddie Coleman. I would call Summers, Beningo. I called Beningo after the Yankees, Mariners. My first ever call to the Fan was Joe Beningo on the overnight after, I want to say it was either game 3 or game 4, Yankees, Mariners division series. Mm-hmm. And I wish I had the tape. I might have it somewhere. I'm pretty sure I had it. I was like, Joe, I despise the Yankees. And you hear that click when you call. If those of you never called the Fan, like you could hear the click when they're putting you on. God, such a high. And Joe, I despise the Yankees. Why is that, Sal? Why is that? And then whatever, I went into it, and then he hung up. You know how they hang up, and I heard. I was like, "What the hell happened?" I got disconnected. I didn't know what was going on. You just hear that. But anyway, that was the first time I called. But no, I was a passionate. I'd say Mets. I called Mike about my Falcons on the NFL Now. So Mets, Falcons, and Knicks were probably my primary calls.